Sisi kama Wakenya wote kuanzia Turkana mpaka Mombasa hadi Garissa, sisi watu ambao wametoka hii eneo la Mlima Kenya, sisi watu wa Murang'a tumekasirika sana kuuliwa kwa Boniface. Tumekasirika. Sisi kama watu ambao wametoka hii eneo tuna demand justice for Boniface Kariuki. Huyu kijana hakuna makosa alikuwa amekosea mtu. Alikuwa anafanya kazi ya kung'ang'ana Nairobi. Tuliona video yake na hakuwa amebeba silaha. Tunaona ya kwamba serikali inakosea vijana hawa naitwa Gen Z. Na reason ni kwamba huyu kijana yeye ni mojawapo wa wale ambao serikali ilikuwa supposed inalinda. Hawa vijana kama hawa, they do not deserve to die. They deserve to be protected by the government of Kenya. This government must take responsibility for the death of Bonnie. We demand justice and we tell the government that we shall not rest until Bonnie gets justice.
Ladies and gentlemen, Irungu Kangata is the governor for Murang'a County. This gentleman, he has not been to any meeting of the Deputy President former, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua. He has never come out to speak anything in support of the Tungati, or let me say the opposition led by Rigathi Gachagua. He has never been able to speak on anything against the government, just until the burial of Boniface Kariuki. Now, from his statements, I could see some seriousness from him. Some seriousness that I think is a clear indication on what is happening in the mountain region. First of all, let me tell you this. When Uhuru Kenyatta was going against the people, according to the people of Mount Kenya and the leaders there, Irungu Kangata wrote a letter to him. And at that time, Irungu Kangata was already given the majority leader within the Senate. Despite that respect from Uhuru Kenyatta, this gentleman still went ahead to side with the people who are against Uhuru Kenyatta. And eventually the ground was the same as Kangata's decision, being with President William Ruto, evident very well in the 2022 general elections. Now, Irungu Kangata was elected under the UDA ticket. And at some point, even when Rigathi Gachagua was impeached, he was perceived to be the probable person to replace Rigathi Gachagua. Irungu Kangata, he has been among the most and best performing governors in the country. And as we speak today, he's actually having the best programs ever we have this current revolution. So therefore, Irungu Kangata is not just a normal man that we just look at as a politician just like any other. This is not Silvana Sosoro. This is not just any other person. That is why I'm saying that the statement that he made in Murang'a County during the funeral of Boniface Kariuki in front of Kalonzo Musyoka and other leaders from the mountain region plus the opposition at large is very significant, and we cannot just roll it out. And that is what I'm going to analyze here, what it indicates. But before I take you through, if this is the first time you're watching my videos at Mokwa Times, please, ladies and gentlemen, take a second or two to subscribe, like and comment, because that is the best support you can always give this channel. Ladies and gentlemen, my number is always here for those who want to engage me. Feel free to do so, because that's the best support as well you can give me, and that's how I get to learn. Ladies and gentlemen, without much wasting of time, let me dive into the topic today. What is the reason number one as to why Irungu Kangata has decided now to speak the voice of the opposition, to bring out the statements like he's an opposition now? Number one, he has realized that William Ruto is setting him up. First of all, from an individual capacity, if there's somebody personally I'll vote for if he comes on the ballot in 2022 or even in 2027 also, it is what the people actually consider in 2032, even if it's after being the governor, it is Irungu Kangata, because of his ability to deliver. You know, when you want leaders in power, we should check these leaders or maybe vet them from the ability to deliver. And that is why we are seeing people like Rigathi Gachagua when he was a member of parliament in Madeira, Dr. Okengo Fred Matiang'i when he was a cabinet member in Uhuru Kenyatta's government. We also have leaders who have performed in various capacities like Ndindi Nyoro, Babu Wino. People expect to take lead in this country. So when Irungu Kangata comes on board, I can also vote for him if he's fronted by the opposition people. So ladies and gentlemen, so from an individual capacity, he has some great potential in 2032. Assuming that you go for the gubernatorial seat for 2 terms, in 2032, this gentleman is not someone I can actually ignore. Also, let me tell you this. Irungu Kangata he has been a councillor once, as an MCA once, member of parliament once, senator once. No, actually he was never an MCA. I think a member of parliament, senator, then our governor. So we never know what comes up in 2027. But ladies and gentlemen, so the major reason, first of all, is that he realized that he had been set up by William Ruto and that the people of Mount Kenya will turn against him, and eventually William Ruto might dump him and even have someone else for gubernatorial seat, or even completely get rid of him. So it felt like for him to retain his political stature, for him to remain politically relevant even in 2027, he has to side with the people to avoid the setup by President William Ruto. That is number one. Number two, the first thing that you have to remember here is this. As we speak today, there are so many things that are happening that are alluded that probably it is the government that is planning. One of them is the goonism. Goons coming to various places and destroying properties, stealing things, beating people. And ladies and gentlemen, Murang'a is not spared. In Kenol, we know there are so many businesses that were destroyed there by goons. And it is alleged that these goons were dropped there by someone. And the way things are going, the utterances from the opposition, some leaders from the Mount Kenya region as well, they were involved in this kind of an activity. Imagine Rigathi Gachagua comes up in the morning and they says even the governor of Murang'a was involved. It is done completely. So for Irungu Kangata to be safe from the opposition's attack, from the people's attack, he must stay with the people. So that is another decision. Now, ladies and gentlemen, another thing that I have to state here is the issue to do with the deaths in Mount Kenya. As we speak today in these demonstrations that have occurred, let me just talk of the 25th June of 2025 and the Sabasaba. The biggest loss has been witnessed in Mount Kenya. Leave alone the businesses that have been destroyed. Leave alone the houses that have been touched. Leave alone the arrests that have been made. Ladies and gentlemen, the deaths that have occurred. Boniface Kariuki, many others have been shot. And as we speak today, the most painful one was a young lady who was watching, a young girl actually was watching with her mother in the house. Then a bullet came straight to the head. The mother was just seeing blood and the kid was dead, who fell down and died there.
Jana tulikuwa kwa nyumba na mtoto wangu muda wa 6:20 hapo, na ndio tukasikia kitu imelia na sauti kubwa sana. Tukiwa kwa nyumba kama tumekaa chini, kumwangalia kwa mkono nikaona akona damu. Wakati niliona akona damu, tulidhani ni kitu imemkata, kama ni kitu imepasuka. Wakati nilimshika mkono kuangalia damu imetoka wapi, ndio mtoto wangu akaanguka chini. Na kumwangalia nikaona akona shimo kwa kichwa, ndio nikapiga duru. Ningetaka pia kuuliza, haki ya mtoto wangu nitaipataje? Na hata kama nitapata haki, watarudisha mtoto wangu hai tena? Hawatamrudisha kweli.
It's a painful story to imagine. I'm just doing this video to inform you that it occurred in the Mount Kenya region. And such pain, even if you are the greatest supporter of President William Ruto, you can't take it. It is very painful. You cannot. So Irungu Kangata has noted Mount Kenya is losing a lot. And it is time for leaders to stand with their people. Period. Ladies and gentlemen, also another thing that I have to state here categorically. It's the utterances that are being made by Ruto's people towards the Mount Kenya region. Jackson Mandago attacking the Mount Kenya people, threatening them.
We, the Kalenjin nation, delayed the colonization of this country by 15 years. Wazungu wangekuwa hii dunia by 1905. Sisi ndio tulifanya wakakosa kufika mpaka 20. Wewe unatuambia tulipigania uhuru. If you continue, and I want to caution the Mount Kenya nation, mukiendelea namna hiyo, we are going to do an audit of what has happened in this country for the last 10 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, Nelson Koech also warning the Mount Kenya people.
Na mimi nataka niseme na nishukuru Rais William Samoei Ruto. Wakati jana umesema shoot but do not kill. I want to repeat it here. In fact, shoot and kill.
Ladies and gentlemen, Moses Wetangula as well indicating that the Kalenjin must come out and stand strong with their government. Plus many other leaders who are accusing of Mount Kenya on various platforms. To an extent, even it is alluded that most of the goons that are doing the vandalism in Nairobi are ferried from Kirinyaga, Murang'a, Kiambu, Nyeri, and many other parts of the country.
All these goons who are brought all the way from Murang'a, some of them are brought from Nyeri, some were brought from Kirinyaga, most of these goons were left in town. Some were left in Thika Road. And so as they were going back home, they caused immense havoc last night in Thika town.
Ladies and gentlemen, a clear indication that the mountain itself, it requires the leaders to come together, unite the community, and be able to sustain the attacks from President William Ruto and his men. I don't know what is your take as far as this is concerned, but I think also that was important. It is one of the reasons as to why Irungu Kangata had to change tune. Last but not least, it is his political future. He wants probably at some point to also become a presidential candidate or even retain his gubernatorial seat. For you to get political success, you have to have the people. And actually, if Moses Kuria has joined government, has left government, plus many other leaders, who are you to remain with President William Ruto? I don't know what's your take, but in the comment section, feel free to share with me on what you think.